You know, a few years ago, Lisa and I, we were out in this cave. And you know what a cave explorer is called? They're called a spelunker. Isn't that a funny word? We were in this cave and we were spelunking. We were spelunking through this cave. And have any of you been in a cave before? I hope not. And if you were, I hope you were with your parents. Because caves can be slippery and wet because it's damp. You're in a cave. So we're in this cave and we're exploring. And what's that called again? Spelunking. We were spelunking in this cave, and it got to the point where, you know, it's different levels, right? Because you're walking through this cave and you can't see, it's dark, you don't know if there's gonna be a drop off. So this is Lisa, this bear is gonna play Lisa, and this fluffy bear is gonna be me. And I think we got both these bears in Colorado. This one came from a hotel. Who knows where this one came from, but I think it came from Colorado. So we're in this cave and we're, what's it called again? Spelunking. So we're spelunking in this cave, and then there was this drop off. And so I go climbing up and I go, Lisa, come on, come on. And she was trembling because it's slippery. Because what could have happened is if she fell, she could have fell and hurt herself. She could have slipped, I could have slipped, and we both could have went down into the bottom of the cave. But this is what happened. So I go, okay, give me your hand. So we helped each other through the cave. And even when I was like, oh, I need some help, she would help me through the cave. So as we're spelunking through the cave, Lisa would help me, I would help her, and then we finally got out of that cave. What is that? Every time I do this, watch. That bear always falls down. This bear always stands up. But as we were spelunking, we had to help each other to get through that cave, because caves are wet and slippery. But I never would have thought of this, what I'm going to tell you today. Open up your Bibles to Philippians. It's in the New Testament. Excuse me. It's in the New Testament. So go to Philippians, and we're going to be in chapter 4. So Philippians 4, and we're going to do verses 10 through 13. So we're going to be in Philippians 4, verses 10 through 13. Okay? So that's where we're going to be today. And what does that have to do with Lisa and I going through a cave? Well, it talks about relying on God's strength and trusting what God will be there for you. So let's give a little backstory here. In Philippians, the Apostle Paul is thanking people for all the things they have done to help him through his missionary journeys and such. So Paul is writing in Philippians to show his appreciation for all of their support. So get your Bibles out now. We're going to read this together. You know what I'm going to do first, though? Let's read it on the board. So let me get the board out. So here's Philippians 4, verses 10 through 13. So let's read it together here. I rejoiced greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. So what he's saying is, the Apostle Paul is really happy that the Lord has renewed the concern. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. So of course, they were concerned for Paul, but they couldn't show him because he was doing other things. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstance. So even though Paul was struggling, he was rejoiced in whatever circumstance or problem that he had. So let's go here. I know what it is to be in need. Now time out. Lisa and I were inside that cave. We were in need. We needed to help each other. Okay, we had to help each other through that cave. So let's go here. And I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. So the Apostle Paul, he also needed to trust in God. There was those journeys where he didn't have food and people were picking on him and they didn't like what he was talking about Jesus, but he knew in every circumstance, God's strength is there with him. Just like when we were in that cave and we were helping each other through the cave, and we would look at each other and go, I don't know if we can get out of this. Yes, we can. I know we can. Because God was with us as we were in this cave. So even the Apostle Paul, he was thanking them in Philippians for their concern. But then there's verse 13. Now go to verse 13 of the 4th chapter of Philippians. And it says, so Philippians 14 is our memory verse today. Philippians 14 says this, I can do, say it, I can do all this through, I can do all this through him. Who's him? That's Jesus. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. So, I can do all this through, if you can see that, him who gives me strength. So when Lisa and I were in that cave, helping each other, we knew that Jesus was with us to give us strength through that cave, because we couldn't do it on our own. Because what if I would have fell? We knew that Jesus was going to give us strength through that cave. So the Apostle Paul knew, he learned that through the circumstances of his life, whether they were good or bad, he can be content with that. And content means that you're peaceful and you're happy. So it's exactly what Philippians 4:13 says. You have strength in Jesus and you can be content and happy in any situation that you have. Because God taught Paul to trust him. You guys can do that too. You can trust in God that in any situation, he gives you strength. Him as Jesus gives you strength in everything that you do because you can trust in him. So I never would have thought about Philippians 4:13 in that cave when I was in that cave. But when I was in that cave with Lisa, we weren't alone because Jesus was there with us to give us strength in any circumstance that we have. So when you come up to a situation and you go, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this cave. Now that's a metaphor. Look that word up some other time. But as you're going through your own cave and you're going, how am I going to get through this? Remember Philippians 4:13. I can do all this through him, which is Jesus, who gives me strength. So guys and girls, when you need Jesus, he's there to give you strength through all those situations that you have. And you will be happy and content with that. Just like Lisa and I in that cave, and the Apostle Paul when he needed Jesus. And you know what else? I'll see you next time.